In the whole of her life, Skye Cree would never get used to how brutal one human being could be to another. If given the opportunity and the motivation, man or woman could be one cruel, sick beast. She'd taken that as fact for a dozen years or more. It's what drove her to hunt down the monsters, those who preyed on others, who set their sights on the most vulnerable and attacked, at times without reason or logic. Skye took in the crime scene, the bedroom belonging to the young brunette lying dead on the hardwood floor not 2 feet away. One thing that caught her attention and stuck fast was that even though the killer had brutalized the victim, evident by the cuts all over her body, even though he'd used a knife, he hadn't been overly messy. He'd managed, somehow, to contain the blood splatter so it was kept to a minimal area around the body. She also thought he'd spent some time here with the victim. Skye considered both significant. She took a second glance around the room. Since the victim had shared the home with her longtime boyfriend, there was plenty of evidence to indicate that. Both nightstands held the usual clutter. One spoke female with its collection of body lotions, a box of Kleenex, a bottle of water, and a few odd pieces of jewelry. The other table held all the guy stuff: the TV remote, a pump bottle of lubricant, a stack of sports magazines, a cell phone charger, and the clock radio. The body hadn't, in fact, been discovered until said boyfriend had flown home a day early from his business trip to Dayton, Ohio. He'd been gone 3 short days. During that time, a killer had managed to gain entrance into the house and taken the life of Sylvia Waterston. According to the BF, the only way he'd been able to conclusively ID the love of his life was the 1-carat diamond engagement ring he'd given her not 3 weeks earlier. The rock was still wedged on the 3rd finger of her left hand. According to her Washington State driver's license, Sylvia had yet to see her 30th birthday. From the looks of the damage to Sylvia's pretty face, her loved ones would more than likely have to opt for a closed casket. Skye shook her head at that gruesome thought. In her mind, if a person could get used to dealing with this kind of vicious cruelty on a regular basis, she didn't believe he was right in the head. She'd seen death before, had come close to it herself a time or two. If she counted the dreams that came to her in the night, visions that wouldn't let her be, she'd seen and experienced quite a bit in her 26 years. But right this minute, Skye had to wonder exactly what the lovely Sylvia had done to piss someone off enough that he'd left her naked, battered beyond recognition, especially the face, and posed her on the floor for the most possible humiliation factor. He'd taken the time to do all that while he all but set up shop in her bedroom, which meant he'd spent an inordinate amount of time admiring his handiwork and making sure Sylvia made a statement, or rather her body did. Skye stepped closer so she could get a better look at the red marks, the distinctive fingerprints he'd left around Sylvia's throat, where he had choked the life out of the young woman with his bare hands. Had he strangled her before he'd taken some kind of blunt object and smashed her pretty face in? Skye wondered. And when exactly had he taken out his knife and started slicing? That determination she'd have to leave to the medical examiner. At this point, she couldn't even tell which method had ended Sylvia's life. She chewed her bottom lip and tried to figure that out for herself. She'd already taken a tour of the adjoining bathroom and hadn't spotted a visible trace of blood anywhere there. But then they were just getting started. The crime scene people hadn't yet worked their magic. No doubt they'd earned their stripes on this one. Looking at the stone-cold, grayish corpse, though, Skye began to regret ever answering the phone 2 hours earlier. She scanned the room a second time, hoping to pick up something. She'd already determined the killer had obviously enjoyed being with Sylvia. Skye noted he'd rifled through the woman's things because he hadn't completely pushed each dresser drawer into its slot. He'd left all 9 drawers open about an inch. Each drawer was left exactly that same distance.